Jackson, pride of our community, who has never failed us whenever called on to represent his school. We hope that he will follow the path Professor Washington has planned for him.
Our Henry's the honor student. That leaves Professor Washington and Dr. Clayton dine with us tonight.
Well, that calls for hot biscuits and fried chicken.
I took him down to New York for the Golden Gloves last year, and he licked everybody in sight.
Speedy, I don't like to fool with boys that ain't had no experience, especially small-town boys. They'll have to get out of line once they hit New York.
Oh, you don't have to worry about him, Eddie. He's got good background. He's smart, too. He won all the honors at school. Eddie, I wouldn't trust him with anybody but you.
Well, I've taken your word for many years. Maybe I better not change my luck, huh?
Did you like it?
You know I liked it.
Fanny, that was all for you.
Now we'll have a few remarks from Professor Washington.
As I look upon these magnificent gifts, my mind wanders back to the childhood days of our little Henry. One who has achieved so much in so short a time. The hope is born within me that there are no heights that our Henry cannot climb. He who has won at baseball, he who has won at basketball, he who has been fleet of foot in a race, oh, it does me proud. And I know you all recall that marvelous game of baseball, a no-hit game with 2 singles and 3 home runs to his credit. But all of these great achievements are nothing to what we look forward to. My one hope is that little Henry will follow the path that I have planned for him. Little Henry must enter college, pursue his studies, become a lawyer, a Daniel Webster, a statesman like Frederick Douglass, and a diplomat like Coolidge.
You know, Henry, I approve of Professor Washington's ideas, and I do hope you'll carry them out.
They sound good to me, but I'd rather map out my own life.
Your own life? What do you mean, Henry?
A man should do the things he's best fitted for, darling. And after all, I think I'm best fitted for this.
You mean a fighter?
Yes, that's what I hope to be.
And get your face all battered up like that time you went to New York and fought in that, whatchamacallit, that Golden Glove affair? No, Henry, I can't let you do that.
Fanny, darling, you don't understand. I want to be a fighter because that's the one thing in life I know I can do. And when a man wants to be the best of anything in this world, he just can't go wrong. What's the matter, darling? You believe in me, don't you, honey?
Henry, it ain't right. You should listen to Professor Washington. He's the smartest man in our community. He's a great educator. And if he says you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a lawyer.
I don't know now, Pa. There are a lot of lawyers around here, and they're all broke.
Dad, let me explain.
Henry, let me talk to your dad. Give me that watch. Mr. Jackson, you see that watch? Solid gold, 17 jewels. And do you know what it stands for?
Go on.
Henry won that, knocking out the best boy that ever fought in the Golden Glove. 1, 2, 3, and it was over.
1, 2, 3, it was all over? That's getting to watch in a hurry.
And that's nothing, Mr. Jackson. When I take your boy under my management, he'll be a champion before the year rolls out. Do you know what a champion earns, Mr. Jackson?
Go on, go on.
Why, Mr. Jackson, when your boy has won the championship and has hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, what's going to stop him from being a millionaire?
He's right, Pa. After all, I think a man should do what he's best fitted for.
So, that's what you want to be, son? A fighter. All right. I'm not going to stand in your way. But let me tell you one thing, son. You've got to be a good one.
Oh, he'll be good, all right.
I hope so.
Mr. Watson, I'm going to place my boy in your care. He's a good boy. He's never been around very much. Will you promise me, Mr. Watson, that you'll look out for him?
Why, Mr. Jackson, you can depend on me.
Well, hello, Henry. I'm awfully proud of you, my boy. Well, you know I'm always proud of you.
I certainly hope we don't stay here long, Fanny. I disapprove of these kind of places.
But we just got here, Miss Albright.
Henry, your table is waiting for you. Just walk right in. Walk right in, Henry. Walk. Good night, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night, Baron.
I hope you had an enjoyable evening.
Why, we had a swell time.
Check, please.
Can't we ever be alone together?
Oh, keep quiet. I'm expecting some important people.
Well, hello, Jack.
Jack is the boy I was telling you about. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Hemingway, and Mrs. Hemingway.
Very glad to meet you both, Miss Singleton and her former school teacher, Miss Albright.
Well, well, Jack. I've heard a lot about you. Won't you all sit down?
Thank you.
He's a pretty snappy-looking little fellow.
Oh, he won't be so snappy when Pedro gets through with him.
Who is he?
Ah, that's Henry Jackson, the fighter.
What will you folks have? Give me a large gin and a small dash of water.
A ginger ale.
Something cold and lemon tonic, please.
What do you have, Miss Albright?
Well, I don't know.
Tom Collins with all the trimming.
Is it tasty?
Oh, it's a knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight Baron Skinner has a little treat in store for you. The Big Apple Contest.
Jackson, you finally hit the big league. You're going to fight for me. And believe me, son, I expect a lot from you.
You can count on me to do my best.
And there's a mighty good boy that's going to be in there with you, too.
Mr. Hemingway, when my boy get in there, you better get some roller skates for that other fella. You'll be needing them.
Well, as I always say, may the best man win. Don't you agree with me, Miss Singleton?
I suppose so, Mr. Hemingway.
Well, this music is too...
What should I call you?
Mrs. Albright.
Dance?
Well, I don't care if I do.
I don't think you should dance in here, Miss Albright.
I don't know why not. Everyone else is doing it.
How do you like New York?
Frankly, I don't like it. This doesn't seem to be the place for neither one of us. I'm rather sorry I came on that excursion with Miss Albright.
But listen, honey.
There's no need fooling ourselves any longer. This isn't our life. This isn't where we belong. We're used to the cool, clean air of the country. We're used to our own kind of folks.
But dear, if you would
Do
only...
you remember that afternoon you graduated? You were the honor man in the class. And Professor Washington, he came over to your house and he spoke so wonderfully. I was very proud of you then, Henry. And if you want me to continue to be proud of you, won't you come home?
Fanny, darling, you being proud of me is all that I want. And I'm going to make you proud of me. But, darling, I want this chance to make good. Won't you let me have my way just once?
Henry, when you put it that way, what else can I say?
Don't you think we'd better go now? Go? Why, Fanny, things are just starting around here.
Waiter. One more the same for a lady. Yes, sir.
Speedy, do you think I ought to?
You can take it, Miss Albright.
Speedy, call me Alice.
To watch your footwork and see, keep your hands up and keep punching all the time. Now, you ain't no fake thing, you see.
Oh, no, Speedy, I didn't mean to so hard, old boy.
Don't worry about me. I wish you'd save one of them for Pedro. Now, look.
Anyway, that boy's great. He's a credit to the fight game. He's a credit to our community.
You're right, Baron. I like the way he works out.
And aha. Pure gold, my boy. Pure gold. To fight for nothing. For the benefit of our poor children in Harlem. Through my efforts, mind you. They will get fresh air. Christmas basket. Free milk. Everything necessary for the benefit of our people in Harlem.
And how many votes will that swing for you this next election, Mr. Prospector Alderman?
I know that this fight with Pedro means everything in the world to both of us. He's a good boy, Henry, fast, and knows his way around.
I know that, Mr. Watson.
Well, now, Henry, I've watched you ever since we came to town. I promised your mother and Dad I'd look out for you. And I feel pretty happy about it all because you've been a darn good boy. But about this Pedro here, he's got something that you haven't got yet. And that's plenty of experience.
Well, I understand, Mr. Watson. The only way to get experience is to keep punching.
You're a punching kid, all right, Henry. Now take it easy for the rest of the day. I'm leaving with Hemingway now, and take it easy while driving into town.
Okay.
The boys downtown would like just how you're going to bet. What'll I tell them?
You can tell them I still like Pedro.
Yeah, but boss, that kid looks pretty good. As a matter of fact, Speedy Joe told me that young Jackson is a cinch to win.
I said I still like Pedro.
Yeah, but boss, you
You ought to know me by now. I never steered the boys downtown wrong yet. Tell them I still like Pedro. Well, well, if it is my old pal, Little Dynamite.
Why, Frank Harrison, what are you doing way up here?
I just couldn't resist coming up to see you, boy. The folks back home are mighty proud of you. And so am I, Henry. So am I. By the way, my car's outside, and you and I are going to take a nice long drive into town.
Henry, you better come along with me.
Don't worry about me, Joe. Why, I've got a lot of talk over with my old friend. I'll ride with him. Come along, Frank. Let's go to my dressing room, huh?
Why, hello, Frank. Where you been for the last couple of days?
Up in the country, gentlemen, watching the greatest little fight in the world train. And here he is. May I present to you my pal, my old school chum, Mr. Henry Jackson.
Very glad to meet you, boys.
Who, him? That's a mighty little midget to down a man like Pedro.
Gentlemen, did you ever hear of that small package what blows up a big mountain? Well, he's it. That's why they call him the Dynamite Kid. Henry, I want you to meet the most beautiful girl in New York, Miss Jerry Jordan. Jerry, may I present my old boyhood friend and school chum, Mr. Henry Jackson. And I want you to be nice to him.
I'll do my best.
Very happy to meet you, Miss Jordan.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's sit down. Waiter.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir, Mr. Harrison.
Hello, boy. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Waiter. 2 scotch and sodas. What do you have, Henry?
Ginger ale.
Waiter.
Sir.
Put these in the music box.
All of them?
Yes, all of them.
My old pal. You know, I sure got to look out for you. So, one for you and one for me. And there's another for you and another for me. All of us for me.
Gentlemen, I thank you. I thank you very much, gentlemen. And it does me proud to acknowledge your appreciation for my benevolent efforts.
Hi, Alderman.
Have a little drink there, my friend. You see, my friend, when I am elected alderman of this district, your problems will be my problems.
Right you are, Mr. Alderman.
Everybody have another drink.
And, Mr. Alderman, could you consider me as your guest to the fight?
Why, certainly. How many of you are there? Well, you're all invited.
Could you tell me which way is the best way to bet on the fight?
Bet the way I'm betting.
How's that?
I'm betting $1,000 on that little Dynamite to win.
You want to come in?
I'll get you covered, Alderman.
All right, good. What's this?
He was just telling us something about Pedro.
What's this about Pedro?
You know one thing, Baron? I saw that boy fight in Mexico. And if he's not the world's next champion, I'll eat my hat. And you know I know a fighter when I see one.
Yeah. Take this $1,000 and bet it on Pedro. For me.
That's him. That is him. The Dynamite Kid. One of the greatest fighters the world have ever seen. Boy, I'm going over there to see him.
You can't go over there with it. That's Mr. Harrison's table.
I can't help nothing about that. I dreamed about that boy last night, and I just got to go over there to see him.
You don't know what a thrill I get when I sit at a ringside and see a clean-limbed, Speedy boy in action defending himself. Well, every time he weaves and bobs, it just sends something through me. You know, Henry, I can just picture myself watching you fighting. I'm never going to take my eyes off you. I'm going to watch every move you make.
That's mighty nice of you, Miss Jordan.
Don't call me Miss Jordan. Sounds so cold and formal. Call me Jerry.
Thanks. I will, Jerry.
I like the way you call me that. Do you like that name, Henry? Jerry?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's swell.
And just think, you really hit and hurt people with a nice hand like that.
Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
Yeah?
Mr. Jackson, could I just touch you, please?
Run along, boy, run along.
Mr. Jackson, I just idolize you. Can I just stand here and look at you?
Won't you sit down, Mr.
Just call me Wendy.
Don't you know a gentleman never sits down where he's not wanted?
Lady, I ain't no gentleman. I'm just Wendy Butler.
There now, Jerry. Take it easy. What do you want to drink, Wendy?
I'll have a shorty and make it old generation.
Oh, Henry, I wonder if you'd do me a favor. I'm one of the judges at Baron Skinner's beauty contest tomorrow evening at the Sunset Club. Won't you come over and act as my guest of honor? You make the presentation to the winner.
Now, just a minute, Jerry. The Sunset Club is no place for Henry. Remember, the boy's still in training.
That's right. He's still in training.
Now, Frank, why don't you grow up? A little relaxation never hurt anybody. A man is always tense just before a fight. And I can think of no better way to put his mind at ease than to spend a pleasant evening at the Sunset Club. That won't interfere with his training.
Well, maybe you're right.
Sure she's right. Me included.
Henry, you will be there.
Speedy, why'd you let that boy go to Frank Harrison?
No, I couldn't help it, Ed. But after all, they're old school chums.
Sometimes I think you haven't a brain in your head. Harrison isn't fit company for that kid.
I know. But, Ed, what's a little harmless?
That's what's the matter with you. You can't think further than your nose. You'll never be anything but a trainer as long as you live.
Wait a minute, Ed. You forget one thing. That boy's got a mind of his own.
Hi, Speedy. Good evening, Miss Watson.
Well, Henry, where have you been?
Oh, I just had a fine time. Oh, I met a beautiful, an old school chum, Frank Harrison. Maybe you know him.
Yes, I know him. Oh, by the way, Henry, I'm going to leave you alone with Speedy for a while. He wants to talk to you.
Okay.
You mean... You know what I mean.
I don't know how to tell you this, but, well, Henry, look. There's some things that you ought to know.
Well, listen, Speedy, supposing you made a promise to a friend. Would you keep it?
Sure, I always keep my promises to my friends, but...
Well, I've got to keep a promise, Speedy.
Well, come on, tell me what it's all about.
Well, Speedy, Baron Skinner's giving a party tomorrow evening at the Sunset Club.
Mm-hmm.
And I promised I would give the cup away to the beauty contest winner.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
Oh, Speedy, it will only take a little while, and I don't see anything wrong in it. I thought it would take an hour or two, and I don't have to go until after my workout and everything, to get dressed.
Well, look, Henry. I don't think Mr. Watson's going to like this at all.
Oh, Mr. Watson has been pretty swell to me, and I'm quite sure, he'll let me go if you just explain that, Speedy.
Oh, no, not me. I ain't explaining nothing.
But listen, Speedy, you yourself said a promise is a promise, didn't you? And you would be the last man I expect to break one. And if you would just only let me go this once, huh?
Oh, Henry. Son, I always knew you had a mind of your own, and, well, probably that's a good thing to have. But... Well, as far as going to Sunset Club is concerned tonight, I ain't never going to say nothing to nobody.
Thanks, old boy. I know you would see it my way.
Well, Henry, how do you like this place?
Oh, I think it's a swell place.
There's nothing like this back home, is there? Nothing like this back home, either. By the way, Henry, how'd you like my apartment?
It's a nice place you have, Frank. Must cost you an awful lot of money to live here in New York.
Yes, but I'm not complaining. It's just like I told you, Henry. It takes a mighty smart man to get along in New York. Money only comes to smart people, if you get what I mean.
Well, at that rate, I guess I'll never have any.
Forget it, Henry. You just stick around with me, boy, and I'll show you more money than you ever thought existed.
Mr. Dynamite, look at all them pretty gals. Mr. Frank Harrison will introduce, in my behalf, these lovely ladies. Mr. Harrison?
Thank you, Baron. Thank you. Music, boys. First, Miss Monterey. Very lovely. Miss Wells. Miss Bowman. Look, but don't touch it. Miss Hager. Miss Fatman. Miss Fatman. Thank you. In a few moments, the judges will award the prize. Baron, I thank you for allowing me the honor.
You're always welcome, Sonny, to the Baron hospitality.
Yes, thank you.
Will you make the presentation now, Mr. Jackson?
Thank you. I will. It gives me great pleasure to present you with this cup.
Excuse me. My friend, it affords me no small degree of pleasure to donate this gorgeous cup to this charming and lovely lady. When I think that our community can boast of such loveliness, my heart overflows with the milk of human kindness. My dear, in behalf of my association, I offer you my heartiest congratulations. Come here, you little gorgeous thing. Give me this cup.
What's wrong? Didn't I win it?
Go ahead. Go on. Go on. Go on. Will you please go on? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Wendy, I'm a little worried. I'd like to call up Speedy.
You ain't got no right to worry on a night like this.
Well, I'd feel a lot better after I talk to him.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go to the telephone. I got a nickel.
Excuse me a moment, please.
Here's the nickel, Mr. Dynamite.
Okay, Wendy.
He's an awfully nice kid. There's something clean and wholesome about him that I like.
Why, Jerry, I never thought I'd live to see the day that you'd get so...
No, it isn't that, Frank. It's just that...
Jerry, Pedro's got to win that fight. There's no two ways about it. You know what you and I mean to each other, don't you?
Yes, I guess I do.
Well, as long as we understand each other, there's a few things you've got to do for me.
A few things? Just what do you mean?
Jerry, we're both grown up now. We're not going to try to fool one another. Everything I have is on Pedro. Not only my own money, but a lot of it from the boys downtown.
Well?
Jerry, do you remember last winter when we went away? That beautiful hotel? That lovely fur coat? Gosh, you certainly looked pretty in it that night. It's going to get cold again real soon, Jerry. And you do want those things to continue, don't you, Jerry?
Well, I'd be a fool not to, Frank.
What's the matter, Mr. Dynamite?
I can't understand it. I didn't get an answer on that phone, and Speedy should be at home.
Well, don't let that worry, Mr. Dynamite. You and me is here to have a good time. Supposing we return to the festivities.
Well, okay, let's go.
Why, certainly, right this way.
Then, Jerry, I can count on you, can I?
I suppose so.
There's just one thing to remember. Keep that boy in your eyesight till the night of the fight. Don't let him get away from you for a minute. What's wrong, Henry?
Oh, nothing much. I just called up Speedy and he wasn't home.
Oh, stop worrying about Speedy. He's all right. Enjoy yourself. Have a nice time.
That's right. That's right.
Why, good evening, Mr. Watson. What is your pleasure?
Scotch and soda. See what the gang have.
Ladies and gentlemen, another cup given away to the winner of the Jitterbug contest.
What goes on here tonight?
What, the Jitterbug contest? Did I hear him say Jitterbug?
Yeah.
That's me.
Well, lady, how do you think the fight's going to come out tomorrow?
That's a silly question to ask me. If that other boy is still in there after 4 rounds, I'll buy you the best pair of shoes in town.
Well, I guess I'll put my order in now.
Well, don't be so hasty.
But it seems to me if your boy felt like winning so badly, he wouldn't be where he's at now.
Where is he?
Well, he's over at the Sunset Club enjoying Baron Skinner's hospitality. And, oh, you should see who's with him.
Keep your chin, boy.
Woman, do you know who you slapped? You slapped the most jittering jitterbug that ever jittered.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Well, come on.
There's your friend out there making a fool of himself.
Well, I don't know, Jerry. He seems to be doing pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner! And now, ladies and gentlemen, a few remarks from the winner. Ladies and gentlemen,
Give me that cup.
Well, Wendy, I certainly owe you an apology. You're really a jitterbug, all right. What happened to your cup?
Miss Jerry, mistakes happens in the best of families, and mostly they happen to me.
Hey, come here, you. Come here, you.
What do you want?
I want to congratulate you for a wonderful performance.
But winning this jitterbug contest is nothing at all. Nothing at all. Why, last year at the annual hair dressers and manicures convention, I not only won the jitterbug contest, but I also taken the second prize as being the classiest dresser at the entire gathering. Then last winter,
That's all the excitement. Pull up the...
Well, I've got to say I can say something out. What's the idea of my boy being here?
Well, there's nothing to be excited about, Mr. Watson. Why, Frank, our old...
Henry, I got some business with this man first.
That's right, Mr. Dynamite. You've got some business with this man.
Why, Mr. Watson, I was always under the impression that fight managers were rather cruel. Don't you think you're losing your head? Why don't you sit down and join the party?
Now, miss, it's a good thing that you're sitting at this table, because I'm afraid I'll have to watch my language. Harrison, I don't know whether you realize what you're doing. You're supposed to be this boy's friend, and...
That's right, Watson. One of the best friends he's got.
Why, you double-dyed rat. This boy fights tomorrow night. It took me months to arrange this match. Why, he's been up in camp sweating blood trying to get in shape, and you keep him out gallivanting.
You seem to forget one thing, Watson. If I know my friend Henry, he generally has a will of his own. You don't think I could have coaxed him to come here, do you? You don't think I'd have him do anything against his will?
Mr. Watson, I think you've got this whole thing wrong. After all, it's good to see a boy from your hometown.
Henry, you don't understand. What have I worked for? What have I slaved for? What have I planned all these months? To make you a great fighter. To make you a champion. And the first time I let you out of my sight, you go around with characters like these.
Well, I'm sorry I've caused you any concern, Mr. Watson, but I wish you wouldn't talk about my friends that way.
That's right. Don't talk about his friends like that. Because his friends is my friends.
Shut up, you. Henry, maybe I am all excited. I've got a good reason to be. I've been around this town long enough to know what it's all about. This man and this red-hot mama here, if you think they're going to do you any good, I'll wash my hands of you.
But, Mr. Watson, I just
You've
thought...
got no right to think. I'll do all the thinking for this outfit. All you've got to do is to listen to me.
That's a rather large order, Mr. Watson. Maybe some boys can do a little thinking for themselves.
Sure, I think.
Harrison, are you going to leave my boy alone?
I'm not holding him here, Watson. All I tried to do was prove my friendship for him. If Henry wants to leave this party now, he's perfectly welcome to do so.
All right, Henry, let's go.
Mr. Watson, I prefer to stay. I think it's time for us to have a little understanding. After all, I promised to give you the best that was in me, and I think I've kept my promise so far. And believe me, Mr. Watson, I'm not going to let you down. But I'm not going to let my friends down either.
All right, Henry, if that's the way you want it. But remember one thing. There are friends and friends. There are men who think about you every minute of the day. And then there are men who think about you only when it's to their advantage. You'll find out the difference. Goodbye, Henry.
Ma, where's that button hook of yours?
Never did see a grown man have so much trouble with a collar. Now hold still. Oh, I'll get it for you.
It ain't right. It just don't seem right for us to be going to New York to a prize fight.
Well, what's wrong with going to see a prize fight?
I'm surprised, Ma. You being a good church member asking a question like that.
Church member or no church member, this is my boy fighting tonight.
You mean our boy. I had something to do with it. Still, I say that boy should never go to New York. Well, only last night, Professor Washington was telling me that this community lost a great lawyer when Henry left.
Well, maybe some other community gained a great fighter. Now, don't forget that part. And it wouldn't do this community no harm to have a great fighter.
But, Ma, there ain't no dignity in fighting. There ain't no dignity in it.
But there's plenty of dignity in those checks he's been sending home after every fight.
Well, Mr. Jackson, do you realize the train leaves in 20 minutes?
I'm glad you came, Fanny. I'm going to leave it to you as a lady. Do you approve of Henry?
What I approve of that counts, Mr. Jackson. Henry has chosen to live that kind of life, and there's nothing I can do about it. Still, I'm kind of looking forward to that trip to New York to see him. But I don't think I want to go to the fight.
That's right, Fanny. A fight ain't no place for a lady. You see that, Ma? Fanny don't want to see the boy fight either.
Fanny, dear, I'm a much older woman than you are. And I guess I've been through a lot in my days. But there's one thing I want you to remember. It isn't what a boy does that counts. It's what he is, deep down inside. He may be a doctor or a lawyer. It doesn't matter. Just so long as he's good at what he does. And, Fanny, I know my boy's good.
Yes, I know, Miss Jackson. You're right. I've said some things. Please forgive me. But you know how I feel about Henry. I guess I've felt that way ever since I was old enough to remember. And I worry about him.
Don't worry, Fanny. Let me do all the worrying.
Well, what we waiting for? Let's go to the train.
You got the tickets, Josiah?
Certainly I have. Got the tickets? Of course I have.
I said, have you got the tickets?
What did you give me them tickets for anyhow? You know how I am about little things. I got a million other things on my mind.
Oh, look, Mr. Jackson, the baby.
You'd better give me these tickets, Pa. At least we'll know where they are.
Well, son, we better get down to commission and get weighed in.
Speedy, it's funny, Mr. Watson hasn't been around. Do you think he'll be downtown today?
Mr. Watson will be there, all right.
That sure sounds good to me.
Hey, wait a minute. Look, you shouldn't have anything on your mind but that fight tonight. No, come on, let's go.
Hold it, please. Come on, Henry. Help, Speedy. Just got in ahead of you.
Pedro 147. All right, Jackson. Jackson 145. All right, boys, you can come in now.
Say, fellas, let me see a good fighting pose.
Okay, hold right, please.
A little closer.
A little high.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, how'd you do, Henry?
Oh, just made it, old boy. Just made it.
Dad?
Are you sure Mr. Watson hasn't been around? Hasn't telephoned or anything?
No, Speedy, I'm surprised, too. First time any of Watson's fighters ever came in here without him.
Henry, Jerry's picked out a lovely steak, and I'll bet she's preparing it right now. We haven't got much time to lose. Let's go to my apartment.
Fine. Wait till I tell Speedy.
Okay.
Oh, Speedy, I'm going to have a steak. Will you pick me up at Frank's apartment later? Will you? Okay.
But, son...
This here tastes mighty good, but it ain't enough of you for the tasting.
Wendy, that ham's delicious.
Is that what it is? Well, I never would have known it. I like my ham cut in chunks.
Well, Henry, how does it feel a few hours before your fight? Are you nervous?
Well, I guess we all feel a little nervous at times.
Will it mean anything to you to know that I'm going to be right there at that ringside watching you?
Jerry, it will mean quite a deal. You know, you've been awfully sweet to me.
I'm glad to hear that. It's been a long time since I've met a nice boy like you, Henry.
Here you are, Jerry. How do you feel, Henry?
Fine, Frank.
Pardon? Telephone, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Johnny. Excuse me a moment, please.
Oh, Wendy, will you go and get my kit, please?
No sooner said than done.
I wonder if you're thinking of the same thing I am, Henry.
Just what is that?
Well, I was thinking there must be something you're aiming for. There must be something you want to achieve besides fighting. Something sweet. Something lovable. You know what I mean. Someone who cares a lot about you.
Well, you know, Jerry, I think about that all the time.
Tell me about it, Henry. I want to hear it.
She's sweet. There's not a moment of the day that she isn't in my mind and heart.
That's lovely, honey. Tell me some more.
Maybe a girl like you, Jerry, wouldn't think she's so wonderful. After all, she's only a small-town girl. And we were practically raised together. But, Jerry, there's something about her that you would like.
Oh. What's her name?
Her name is Fanny. Fanny Singleton. You know, Jerry, she didn't want me to be a fighter. She wanted me to continue my studies. I don't know how she feels about me now. Maybe I've proven a disappointment to her. That's why I've got to win this fight tonight. Jerry, Dad and Mother promised me that they were coming. So that means that Fanny will be with them. Jerry, you being a girl, do Do you think that if I really amount to something that she would still love me?
Sit down, Henry. Henry, when a woman really loves a man, she never gets over that love. No, she tries to be high-spirited, tries to have a way, and tries to tell you where to go. But when she really loves you, all that doesn't count. All that counts is the man himself.
Then you think Fanny and I...
Don't worry about a thing, Henry. Just go out there and win.
Well, Henry, only a few hours before the fight. Suppose you get started.
Well, I'll have one that's done with my bag.
Well, Jerry, everything's worked out fine. We're rich, honey. We're rich. What's wrong, honey? Don't you feel well?
Oh, I feel all right, I guess.
Well, that's better. You had me worried there for a minute. Here it is, Jerry. You know what to do with it.
I'm not going through with it, Frank.
I didn't hear you correctly, did I, Jerry?
You heard me, Frank. I'm not going through with it. That boy's got to win this fight tonight.
Well, well. That's very interesting. But if Henry should win this fight, you and I are broke.
All right, so we're broke. But I tell you, Frank, I'm not going through with it.
Jerry, I'm a patient man, but you're trying my patience. This is not the way a smart little girl acts.
Then I've stopped being smart, then.
Ah, I'm beginning to see things a little clearer. Are you by any chance in love with that boy?
What if I am? Why, what's so funny about that?
Why, you and that boy have no more chance of making each other happy than I have of losing this fight. Maybe I ought to tell you that he has a little girl back in his hometown that he's crazy about. And her name is...
Fanny Singles, and I know all about it.
Oh, you do? Well, let me tell you something else. You're going to do what we planned.
You've got another thing coming.
Oh, no, I've done all the thinking I'm going to do for one night. Now, you listen to me. I've got more in you, sister, than you'll be able to shake off in 20 years. I don't want to be mean about this thing. But you know my reputation. I can be awfully mean when I want to be.
You wouldn't.
Oh, yes, I would. Every dollar I own is riding on this fight, and that's not all. The boys downtown are following me, and I'm not going to lose it because of your silly little sentiments. I knew you'd see it my way, honey.
Well, Franco, boy, I suppose I'll be seeing you at the ringside.
We'll be there, won't we, Jerry?
Oh, we'll be there. By the way, there's an old custom of a little drink just before the victory.
Sure, you know I don't drink.
Of course not, but you will have a little ginger ale.
I'll join in some ginger ale, too.
Well, I suppose a little ginger ale won't do any harm.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go to the bar. Johnny.
Yes, sir?
A little ginger ale for Mr. Jackson.
Me, too. Sir?
What do you have, Jerry?
The same.
Same for me, too, Johnny.
Yes, sir?
This is probably the last drink we'll have together for a long time.
Don't say that, Jerry. I expect to see a lot of you.
No. I intend leaving New York tonight after the fight, Henry. But it has been wonderful knowing a nice boy like you.
Have a smoke, Jerry. Well, let's drink.
Just a minute, folks. Before we have this drink, I want to draw you a picture of tonight's big fight. Out there in that arena, it will be crowded, and the people will all be cheering for our little Henry.
And do you know where I'll be sitting?
Where, Wendy?
Away back up there, like a fly on the wall.
Can we drink now?
To victory.
To victory.
To victory. Thank you all.
By the way, Henry, I'm giving a party for you tonight after the fight, and I want you to invite all of your friends. I personally guarantee them a time they'll never forget.
Well, suppose Henry loses.
Oh, he'll win all right, but even if he does lose, the party's on just the same. You know, Henry, everybody loves a winner, but a real friend loves a loser just the same. So no matter what happens, the party is still on.
Now just go in there and keep punching, see? Don't go feeling him out. Make him think you're confident. What's the matter? Anything wrong?
Oh, I guess not.
Oh, come now. You've never kept anything from me. Come on, what is it?
Speedy, I don't know how to put it. You know, it's something missing. What do you think Mr. Watson can be?
Hey, look, this ain't no time to be worrying about Watson. You've got to worry about that Pedro.
Speedy, I hope I didn't make a fool out of myself. You know, nothing seems to matter. One way or the other, Mr. Watson is angry with me.
Oh, he's not angry with you.
Then why isn't he here? You know, this room seems awfully empty without him. You don't think I would have let him down, do you, Speedy?
Son, when you're as old as I, then you know what it is to be a little sensitive. You know how a father feels about a son. He's a little mischievous. He sort of, well, he gets angry, and then after he cools off. Sometimes he even says to himself, well, maybe the boy's right.
Well, Speedy, do you think you'll ever feel that way about me again?
Jay, you just go and win that fight tonight, and you'll see how quickly Mr. Watson changes his mind.
Mr. Dynamite, that arena sure is crowded out there. You can't even get a sardine out there.
Well, Wendy, why aren't you in your seat?
Well, I got a little confession to make to you. I done sold my ticket, but I made a bet on you.
Well, I don't see how you're going to see a fight without a ticket.
Don't worry about me. I'll see the fight all right. Go on, Jackson.
Come on, let's go.
This way, gentlemen. On to the arena.
If I had his nerve, I'd be a millionaire.
Do you, Mr. Jackson?
Don't worry, Fanny. That boy gave me his personal promise he'd win this fight.
That don't give you no excuse to smoke that cabbage leaf you've got in your mouth.
Where there's room for one, there's room for two.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a few celebrities here tonight. First, let me introduce that eminent politician, that benefactor of the human race, Harlem's favorite host, Baron Skinner.
It got me. Oh,
wait. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the main bout for this evening, 15 rounds of boxing. In this corner, the sensational champion of Mexico and South America, the boy who has
successfully defended his title, meeting all comers, wearing black trunks, weighing 147, Pedro Lopez.
Boy, oh boy, look like a whole Mexican army in there.
And in this corner, that young welterweight, Golden Glove champion, pride of Harlem, affectionately known to his followers as Little Dynamite, wearing purple trunks, weighing 145, Henry Jackson. Referee, Andy Niederreiter.
You boys don't know the rules. I want you to hit clean. Break clean. And I tell you to break. Be the man goes to score the knockdown and wants to go to a neutral corner. And break clean and box coming out.
Here I am, Henry. Take it easy, kid. Everything will be all right. How you feel now? Keep your hands up, Henry. Lots of left hands. Plenty of them. Stay away and take things easy, old boy. You'll be all right this time.
Now, let's finish this. This is running against home belly.
All right. I'll take that out of the way then.
Now, you two young men back there, especially you with the red necktie who's laughing at the word of God, remember this, young man, and remember it all your life. Your arms is too short for the box with God. But God is an ever-loving God, an ever-forgiving God, an ever
patient God. And he is not a hard person to know. His arms are ever open. There's always a welcome sign on his door. And all one needs to do to come to him is to go down in some lonesome valley and pray. So does it. Lord help his
Amen. Glory. Praise the name. Glory. Hallelujah. Amen. Amen.
Amen. What's the trouble in your heart, daughter? Have you sinned? Is you tired of the wicked ways of the world?
Reverend, I want to pray. I wish I knew how.
You wants to pray? Then be like the meek and lowly lamb. The old sheep, he know the road. The young lamb must find a way.
Reverend, do you think that God would ever forgive me for doing something terrible?
Done something terrible? Well, is you sorry?
Oh, yes, Reverend. Awfully sorry.
Then open up your heart. Face the Lord and ask forgiveness. Pray, my little lamb. Pray.
Lord, I can't find the words to say. But you who see everything and know everything can see into my heart. Lord, can't you see the sorrow there?
The Lord has got the all-seeing eye. He sees everything. And he knows everything.
I moan in the valley, in my moan. I moan in the valley, didn't I moan? Moan in the valley, didn't I moan? Moan in the valley, didn't I moan?
That's what I did. That's what I did to the cleanest, sweetest boy who right now is in your merciful hands. Probably battered half dead by this time. It was my sin, God, that did it. Yes. My sin. Is there ever hope of forgiveness? Can I ever atone for the sin?
Pray on, my sister. Pray on. God is ever merciful.
God. If there is hope of forgiveness, save that boy. Save him for his mother, his father, his little sweetheart. Save him from the wiles of women like me. Send him back to his little town, clean in heart, clean in soul, and clean in body.
Amen.
Do this, God. Do this. And I'll sin no more. I'll walk in your path forever.
Pray. Oh, God, Almighty Judge, look down in pity on this child. Bring her comfort. and consolation.
Hallelujah.
I can tell the nations of flesh, tell them what the good Lord has done, tell them life a comforter has come, and he brought joy to my soul.
Well, Frank, that looks like the end of your boy Pedro.
Yeah? Bet your 100 you're wrong.
Okay, you're on. I'll hold the money.
Yeah? Who's gonna hold you? Give me that money.
Okay, here you are.
Hold it, pal.
Go get him, Harry. Go get him. Remember my $5. Remember my $5. Give me that cigar.
Mister, who's winning?
Jackson, please. Jackson, just a few words to the winner, please.
Well, I'm very glad I won, folks, and it's a great fight, and that boy Pedro's a great puncher. But I must say, I won this fight for my good friend Speedy, Joe Williams, and manager, none like him, Mr. Watson.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I told you to come through, kid? What do you mean you told me? Did I ever doubt it?
Fine.
Oh, he's somebody. I knew you'd do it, Dad. Champion.
Coming?
No, I'll see you later.
Okay.
And now, my child, do you feel comforted in heart? Rejoice, my daughter. Rise and rejoice, for you have laid down your heavy burden.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Yes. Extra, extra! Jackson wins by a knockout! Extra, extra! Get your papers in! Extra, extra! Jackson wins by a knockout! Extra, extra! Jackson wins by a knockout! Extra, extra! Read all about the big fight! Extra, extra! Jackson wins by a knockout! Jackson wins by a knockout! Extra, extra!
He hurt me.
Read all about the big fight!
Hurt me.
Jackson wins by a
He hurt
knockout!
me.
Son, I'm proud of you. You've not only upheld the honor of the Jackson family, but I won $5 on it.
Son, I never thought I'd live to see a prize fight, but I'm sure glad I lived to see this one.
Henry, you were wonderful. I must admit, I even got a kick out of it.
Fanny, I know how you feel about fights. I wish you hadn't have seen this one.
Oh, Henry, I'm proud of you.
Folks, this is the happiest night of my life. Speedy, do you think Mr. Watson is still angry with me?
Angry with you? Look, Mr. Watson's upstairs now telling Hemingway and a crowd of reporters that you're the best fighter he's ever managed.
Speedy, boy, you don't know how happy you make me feel.
Now, son, we're all going home tonight.
Oh, just a moment, Dad. Frank Heston's giving a party tonight, and he invited us all up.
You mean Big Frank, who caught that no-hit game for you? Ain't seen him in a long time.
Well, come on, let's go.
Wait a minute. That's no place for me, and it certainly isn't any place for you. I don't like him. He's just a no-gooder.
Speedy, I think you've got him wrong. And if you want to make me happy, come along. And don't forget to bring Mr. Watson.
Okay.
How did you like the fight tonight, Miss Jerry?
I haven't got time to talk to you now, Johnny. I've got things to do.
Downtown are pretty sore, boss. I just got word that they're on the way up here.
Yeah, I know. I expected that. In this racket, you've got to be prepared to take it any time. You better run along, son.
No, boss, I'm going to stick with you. You know I always have.
I don't want you to stick with me. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here, I said. You know better than the rest. Get out. Fine boy.
Come in, please.
Where's Frank?
He'll be along in a minute, Mr. Jackson. Glad you won tonight, Mr. Jackson. Make yourself right at home.
My. Frank certainly must be doing mighty well for himself to have a nice place like this.
I always said Frank was a pretty smart boy. He kind of used to like you, didn't he, Fanny?
I suppose so. But I guess I just always felt the way I do about Henry.
Seems funny Frank isn't home.
Well, you can never tell about Mr. Frank. He just comes and goes at the funnest times. But I know he wants you all to feel right at home.
Excuse me a minute. I'd like to powder up a bit. Why, who are you? What do you want? Oh, I beg your pardon. I didn't know anyone was in here. Well, don't stand there staring at me. What do you want? I came with Mr. Jackson's party, and I'd like to... Oh. You must be Fanny. Yes. My dear, you're a very lucky girl to have the love of a boy like Henry. Oh, do you think so? Now listen, honey. Don't get me wrong. Well, I've heard nothing but how wonderful you are every minute of the day. But I don't understand.
May I come in?
Come in, Henry.
Why, Jerry, what are you doing here? Where's Frank?
Oh, you two seem to know each other.
Fanny, why, Jerry's one of the best friends I've met since I've been here in New York, and I've told her all about you.
Oh, I see. Well, if you'll both excuse me. Fanny, don't go. I know I owe you an explanation. Let me alone.
Oh, what's the matter, honey?
Take your hands off me. I never want to see you again. Don't be a fool, Fanny. Why, if I had the love of a man like that, I'd certainly know how to keep it. And I hope you do, too.
I suppose I'll leave you two girls alone.
No, don't go, Henry. I want you to hear what I've got to say, too. Fanny, I made a lot of mistakes when I was a kid like you. Why I left a boy in my home who was just crazy about me. A nice, clean kid. No, he wasn't good enough for me, that's what I was thinking. But many a lonely night I'd eat my heart out, wishing I were back home, wishing I could see him again, and wishing I'd never left. But what has all this got to do with me? Only this, child. Why, I can see a little jealousy creeping into your eyes. Don't ever let that happen. My Henry's loyal. He's true. He's sincere. And he loves you more than anybody else in the world. Keep that love. And keep it sacred. Well, goodbye, Fanny. Goodbye, Henry.
Goodbye, Jerry.
Well, if I thought that pretty girls like that were after you in New York, I'd never have let you alone.
Fanny, there never was a girl as beautiful as you in my eyes.
You know, Henry, that girl made me think a little just now. Maybe I wasn't altogether fair with you. Maybe I was a little fussy about what you ought to do. Maybe I tried to plan your career instead of letting you plan it yourself.
Fanny, I'm going to listen to you always, dear. Soon there will be no more fighting. Soon there will be school again. And if fate is kind, maybe I'll become a lawyer. Or just anything you want me to be. But, darling, I want to make a promise. I'll never leave you again. No, never.